Hello, everyone. Welcome to Healthy Mind and Body with Fee. My name is Felicia Drummond, and I'm a certified fitness nutritionist, and I'm also a nonprofit business owner of a company called Ditch, which is developing individuals to compete higher. It focuses on overall health and wellness and performance. I'm also finishing my PhD in general psychology with a focus in performance psychology. And here we have Destiny.
What's up, everybody? I'm Destiny Wood. I am a registered nurse and massage therapist, and I have a wellness business, Simply Destined, and we focus on I am the we.
Yeah.
I focus on just helping individuals with personal wellness and everyday life.
All right. Thanks for sharing, Destiny. And so today's episode, we're going to talk to you guys about diabetes. Think it's very important, and it's like a war of us trying to get better control of, and just educate people more on it, on their chronic condition. I feel like people could do a lot better if they really had more information opposed to just getting a diagnosis and here, take this pill, or here, you have to be on this insulin for the rest of your life, right? All right, so just to keep everything simple, a general definition of diabetes. Diabetes is a chronic metabolic disease characterized by elevated levels of blood glucose or blood sugar, which leads over time to serious damage to the heart, blood vessel, eyes, kidneys, and nerves. There are two types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 occurs when in your immune system, the body systems for fighting infection attacks and destroys the insulin producing beta cells of the pancreas. Scientists think type 1 diabetes is caused by genes and environmental factors such as viruses that might trigger the disease. Type 2 diabetes, the most common form of diabetes, is caused by several factors, including lifestyle factors and genes, overweight, obesity, and physical inactivity. You are more likely to develop type 2 diabetes if you are not physically active and are overweight or have obesity. Overweight sometimes causes insulin resistance and is common in people with type 2 diabetes. The location of body fat also makes a difference. Extra belly fat is linked to insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, and heart and blood vessel disease. I'm sorry, guys. This topic is dear to me just because I've dealt with it from family members. My father, he has diabetes, and my late grandmother, she struggled with diabetes for so many years. So I'm very passionate about educating the people on this topic today. For me, I ended up watching my grandmother having to lose a limb from not being able to, get her diabetes under control, seeing her, not be herself, especially when it was too low. That was scary. So I learned at a very young age, just making sure that I take care of myself so that I don't have to have those chronic conditions. And knowing that it is genetic, meaning you have a higher probability of having it, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get it because your family has it. Because I don't eat like them, and I don't have any of the chronic conditions that my family members have. So that's why I'm always stressing nutrition. So, Destiny, let's talk about labs.
So, this was important to me with diabetes to talk about what to kind of understand when you go to the doctor. So, in general, most of us, even as individuals without chronic conditions, you should get a physical at least once a year. Especially as we age, it becomes more important. Now, if you have a chronic condition, your doctor may recommend it be more often than that. So take the cue from that, and physicals are so important. One of the things we're all familiar with, if you've had a physical, is they're going to draw your blood and take labs. And there's various things that they're looking for, but one of those blood tests is basically a chemistry panel, and it will give you information related to diabetes or blood glucose. Blood glucose being an indicator of what we hear people call them sugar levels.
Yeah.
what they are in your blood. So another one that you'll hear of is hemoglobin A1C. This is the one that I hear people get super confused about all the time. Okay. If you do not have diabetes, when they draw that particular lab, first of all, let me tell y'all too, side note, I got an ill crick in my neck, right? So if you see me up here like, it's because of my neck. So I'm trying to look normal, but just know I am fighting a fury over here on this right side. So I need a massage myself. But blood glucose levels, like without diabetes, without eating in the morning, that's why if you all remember, they tell you to not eat before you go to the doctor because they want to get a fasting blood glucose. Of course, when we eat, it changes the level of sugar or glucose in our blood. Fasting blood glucose, just to give you an idea, if normal, they like it to be like about 99. There's a range of that, of what it should be fasting, and that's normal. Pre-diabetes, I know we're starting to hear a lot about that for a couple of reasons, between 100 and 125. Okay. And then diabetics is over 125. Now, that tells you at that moment when they drew your blood, that's what your blood glucose was. Okay. When you eat, of course, it changes that. Hemoglobin A1C is a test that they use for individuals who have been diagnosed with diabetes and other individuals to see what has your blood glucose averaged over time. Okay. Usually like 2 to 3 months. And the number is different. So, for example, below 5.7% is normal. That's what someone without diabetes going in and having that test, they expect it to be about 5.7% or lower. Pre-diabetics, if it's above 5.7% to 6.4%, that's when they start talking to you about pre-diabetes. And then above 6.4% is diabetics. Now, I've seen people when it's like 12 that we need to intervene because those numbers correlate to what your blood sugar is averaging over that course of time. Pre-diabetes, I want to dive into a little bit, especially now that I don't know if you all have been hearing a lot about these medications that are for diabetes, but they also have an off-label use of weight loss.
Get into it. Get into it.
So one of the kind of qualifiers, I won't get into the nitty-gritty, is to be pre-diabetic, and then you can qualify for that medication. But its indication is for diabetes. So just be mindful of that. However, though, if you go to the doctor and they indicate that you are pre-diabetic, that means you need to start changing your lifestyle. Felicia just went over some of the factors that contribute to type 2 diabetes. As she mentioned, type 1 is generally thought to be more genetic. They used to call it like juvenile onset diabetes because people would know very early in life. Type 2 is what you hear about most commonly. And that can be addressed, improved with changing your lifestyle. So if they ever say pre-diabetes, you need to start looking into your diet, your fitness routines, and making changes so that you do not get to the diabetic level. And then diabetes, you've received the diagnosis and they may put you on medication, which you could be taking a pill by mouth or injecting yourself with insulin, as a lot of people are familiar with. And that's the stage we want to try to, if we can intervene, not get there. If you are there right now, that's okay. You just have to do what you need to do to manage that. The main thing, especially if someone has been diagnosed with diabetes, I encounter in the field so much, and I'm sure you're familiar with this too, Felicia. most people are not checking their blood sugar every day. I know that may be for various reasons. You don't want to prick your finger, and now they have devices that you can wear persistently, and it connects to an app on your phone, and you can constantly see what your blood glucose level is. So that's a nice change. But you got to know that value, because otherwise you're just
I hear in the
not.
wind.
Yeah, we ain't
Look,
getting it.
wondering why you in the ER.
We ain't getting it. And there are, if blood glucose or diabetes is a tricky one, because most people don't experience. It's not like pain, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's other symptoms that people will keep going with and not even think nothing about. However, like Felicia said, it is impacting your body, whether it be kidneys, it can impact your eyes, as she mentioned. Unchecked long enough, people can get to where they have to have limbs removed, and it can really be an issue. So that's why I feel like for both of us, diabetes is super important. So just to summarize again, the two primary tests we hear a lot about is blood glucose, which checks your blood sugar at that moment in time that you either prick your finger or you have a blood draw at your doctor's office. And then hemoglobin A1C is a assessment of your blood glucose over time. Like, it shows what you're averaging. And generally you see that more with clients who are actually diabetic, to see how they've been doing with managing their blood glucose.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And also, as you share, your experience when you're in the field, what I run into with my clients that get sent over that have been recently diagnosed, or they've been living years with diabetes, especially the older ones, they'll say, well, I was diagnosed 10 years ago and I didn't take it serious. And I'm like, I don't think you understand the severity of thing. They have to go through getting sick and getting in the ER before they start trying to take it serious. And even then, they still have, slip ups where like, man, I gotta have this snack cake, or they're eating, they're drinking the sodas. And I'm like, you can't have that stuff. The most important thing is when you start your day, that I try to stress to clients, is knowing your number when you first wake up in the morning before you eat anything. So you kind of have an idea how you can kind of maneuver through the day with your eating. You'll have people to say, oh, well, it's my cheat day, I can have this. But I'm like, you're a diabetic, you can't move like that. Like, this could get to the point to where, because I've seen it at its worst with my family members, right? And I don't ever want to have to see that with a client, especially if you come to have these relationships with these clients. You start to care for these individuals, especially the older ones. So my goal is just to kind of get it out there for you guys. And another thing, just being active, have some type of movement instead of living in sedentary lifestyle. No one's saying, you got to get in the gym and lift heavy weights or anything like that. Even if you just went for like a 5 or a 10-minute walk, or work your way up from a 5-minute walk to a 10-minute walk. Another thing, like I said, I always try to stress with as far as nutrition, the biggest piece is the nutrition, right? Just paying attention to nutritional facts, like, right? I know with today's society, we look for the quick and easy thing to eat, right? Or we may wait too late and we're starving and we ain't think about trying to make no healthy choice. We're trying to get this hunger feeling going in our stomach, So just paying attention to the nutritional facts label, it'll tell you on there how many milligrams of sugar is in there. But you also want to look right underneath where it'll say, let me see, on here. With my water, it'll say, this is coconut water, by the way. I'm not getting paid for this. I'm going to show y'all. But like, it'll say total sugar. It has, if you do 45, this is an 8 full ounce bottle, right? So 10 grams of total sugar, but then underneath it'll come in and say included sugar, right? This is only 1 gram included sugar. Whereas something that's full of sugar, like a soda, I'm just throwing out a number. It may say, I don't know, 50 grams or 60 grams of sugar with an additional 25 grams of sugar. And you're like, dang, you don't drink this whole thing. You ain't drinking no water. So I try to, I think when people are visual, right? So I think when I show clients, how to pay attention to the nutritional facts label, especially when they have hypertension as well, stuff that's high in sodium, it kind of like the light bulb comes on for them then. But like I said, the biggest thing, nutrition, being active, even if it's walking out to your mailbox, you just want to get that movement going. All right. And so another thing I want to talk about is just the maintenance and interventions. From the medical side of things, what would you say people could do for maintenance and intervention?
I mean, to me, the biggest thing is diet. If I could say one place to start, that would be it. And that hits so many areas, not just diabetes, high blood pressure, as you mentioned, overall weight maintenance goals. If you can really hone in on what you're eating every day, and just to let you all know, two great references for information about diabetes is the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC website, because you can count on the information always being up to date and the latest recommendations. Because one thing to know, recommendations change based on research. So what may have been the case 15 years ago, if they find new research that says something different, it may adjust. So those ranges that I mentioned for goals and recommended numbers, they may change slightly, and they could change by provider. So it's important to always look on there, know what range you're in so that you know what goals you should be following. Another note, I can't remember if I said it or not. If you are diabetic, your doctor, or if you can't remember, or if they have not said it to you, your doctor should be telling you the range that they want to see your numbers in. So they will tell you what they would like your blood glucose to be, and they will also tell you the goal for their hemoglobin A1C. So a lot of the clients that we work with, their provider has told us, hey, we want to see their hemoglobin A1C. This is someone who's diabetic. We want to see their hemoglobin A1C below 8. If they're 9, that's a little less work to do. But some of them, like I said, are 12. So you have a lot of changes to make. And the CDC actually gets a lot of their information from this other site, but the American Diabetes Association is another site that can be referenced for information on diabetes. So one, know where to go to see, and they'll have recommendations about foods. They have cool little infographics like this one. This is beautiful to me. Hopefully y'all can see this. Well, that looks crazy. That was a bad idea.
It's okay. We can put it in a link. We'll put it
a link. But just to describe it to you, it looks like traffic lights, and it breaks down these ranges for blood glucose and hemoglobin A1C. So know where you can get reputable information. Yes. Don't be asking cousin baby.
Or your auntie that's in her 70s.
Go to these sources, because what is the goal for Auntie Mamie, who's 75, versus Kiki, who's 25, is going to be different. So know where to get the information. Really focus. If you can't do anything else, try to focus on your diet. And on like in episode 1, we talked a lot about goal setting. So maybe if you listening today and you're like, man, I need to make some changes. I need to make an adjustment. Don't feel like today you got to clean out the whole pantry. Yeah. That would be great. But let's talk about
that's
being
what I
realistic.
That's what I would prefer.
We already talked about you're an extremist.
I am.
We love it.
I'm okay with that.
We love it. You're an athlete. We get it.
Hey, Division 1 elite athlete.
Let's talk about us lay people, us regular people. We might not go throw out all the little Debbie cheesecakes today. It probably ain't even a cheesecake. They'll show y'all that I don't know nothing about these snacks. Other issues. Not the sweets, not my issues. It's the carbs for me. It's the carbs, in which carbs, side note, carbs are an issue as well, because carbs, when they break down in your body, they turn into sugar.
They do.
So you might be thinking, yeah, I'm not drinking this Dr. Pepper every day. No shade to Dr. Pepper. Everything in moderation. But guilty. You eat Chick-fil-A fries 5 times a week. And I love Chick-fil-A. Mm-hmm. I'm not going against Chick-fil-A. You just have to know what happens when foods break down in your body. So that can turn into sugar. So it may start with you saying, okay, I drink 5 sodas every day. I'm going to, instead of drinking 5 sodas, I'm going to try to drink just 2 sodas a day and replace that with water.
Mm-hmm.
So start where you are. Don't make it overwhelming to start. Just make changes. And it, again, I would recommend starting with diet first. If you can do diet and exercise, great.
Mm-hmm.
But even they will tell you with fitness, even you can work out crazy every day, but if your diet is off, it will hinder you from your goals. So at minimum, start with your diet first and know your numbers. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one thing that I always tell clients. And I've had some clients that have been successful, whether they do just the nutritional part and not even do the fitness part, and they still have had success with that. And so I always stress like the diet. Even if I always tell them, like, even if you never work out with me, just focus on the diet, and if you, and I found a lot of clients have success because some people are visual when they have a food diary. They're more successful because they have a visualization of what they've been eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, even a little snacks, even good or bad, right? Now they can kind of see like, oh man, I ate real bad on this day. Like I have a client, she'll come in and they'll be so happy to bring their book. And I'll be like, okay, well, what was going on here on Thursday? I see you ate this. Like, what? Oh, well, I was bored and, I got some bad news. I'm like, okay, but it didn't affect the scale, right? Now they have they have a mindfulness to, their why, but it didn't throw them off track. And my job isn't to beat you down, it's to build you up and to remind you, like, if you have a shortcoming where you did eat bad that day, give yourself some grace. That doesn't mean because you had that one bad day that you just give up on the whole journey of wanting to be healthier or make healthier choices. Just try. You still get another 24 hours to the next day, God willing, to make a better decision. So I always lead with that. Like, give yourself some grace even when you fall short.
I do want to go there. You brought up something great, and I actually would like to challenge you all, whether diabetic or not, because it's just a great exercise. Do a food diary for 1 week. Those resources that I mentioned, definitely on the CDC website, cdc.gov, I believe it is. And I think it's cdc.gov. We're going to confirm that in a moment.
This is another one.
I'm pretty sure. Go on you can just Google Centers for Disease Control.
Right. They have everything.
They have everything. And I said that to say they have little templates for a food diary. But this can be as simple as you getting some loose leaf paper or whatever and just writing it down. Write what you eat in the morning, for lunch, dinner, everything you eat. Just do it for 1 week. I challenge you to do it for 1 week. It is so enlightening for you to see, because you can see, like, I didn't eat this day. I ate crazy this day. And it really helps you look at where to make those adjustments. So I'm challenging you, viewer, to just do a food diary for 1 week and just see what changes you need to make based on that, especially if you're diabetic. And you know that you have some opportunity to grow in this area. Do a food diary. So that was a great point that you brought up.
And I like that even when you say, I didn't eat this day, you'll have someone that's doing if they're doing the fasting, right? And they decide to have their first meal and only meal of the day later in the evening, and just to try and be mindful of not even overeating, right? Because you have to think about, you haven't eaten all day, and then now it's like you're making up, you don't think about it, but mentally you're making up for the food that you didn't eat all day. So just try to be mindful and not overeating, even if you're fasting. I'm not against fasting. It's just being mindful when you do have your first, and if you're just eating that one meal, to not overeat. I think this was great information today, guys. We were happy to get on here and share it with you. Hopefully you or someone you know can use this information. Please share it out. My social media is at Body by Fee is my personal IG if you want to reach out to me on there, or my business one, which is Ditch Inc. 19. And Destiny, give them your socials.
You can find me at Simply Destined. Simply is with an I. So Simpli and Destined, Destined. If you have any questions, you can reach out. We can talk about it. We aren't experts. We have a passion for wellness and we know where to find the information. You could be informed just like we are by knowing where to go to find the information. Because if it's something you don't, we or you or I don't know, you better believe I'm
We're
going
going
to those
research.
references
Yep.
that we talked about to find that information. So just empower yourself. If I could summarize and say any things to start, know your number and focus on your nutrition and your diet. If I was just given my two places to start, more than anything, know your number.
And I think that's a realistic goal, right?
Yeah.
To set for yourself. One thing I want to leave you with, one thing that my doctor, my primary provider, had shared with me, that when she lets the patients know that they have a chronic condition, whether it be diabetes or high blood pressure, and she'll say, well, you know, you can change your diet and you can turn this thing around. And she was like 90 something percent of them choose to take a pill than actually doing the work and changing that diet. And that really, you know, got me going on wanting to educate people and know that you can take control of your life. You know, just because those numbers say that that doesn't mean that's end all be all, right? Like you can do something about it. Like fight for your life, especially if you're older and you have grandkids that are looking at you. Like change, you know, that family dynamic of going out having every meal that's at a fast food restaurant. Actually eat some whole foods. And when I say whole foods, I mean foods that give you life, like vegetables, things like that, not that all that processed food. So just something I want to leave you guys with. We want to thank you guys for tuning in with us today. Destiny, thank you so much for joining me today. I
Sorry
love
about
you.
my neck, y'all, because I'm over here.
She
like,
got that.
I'm
that
trying to
robot
hydrate
neck.
because y'all know you get a crook in your neck. It is not fun.
It's not.
No.
But no, thank you guys for taking the time to tune with us. Again, share this
Yes.
out. Follow us on social media. Reach out to us if you have any questions or anything. And we'll see you guys next time for the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.